So Netflix have released a new trailer, what will be the last trailer for Martin Scorsese's gangster film The Irishman, which has completely wowed critics in limited screenings the film has had. So I wanted to take a look at this trailer, as I've done so for the other two, except this time it's a little different as by this point I've actually already seen the film. I have a non-spoiler review on my channel if you're interested, and this video will also contain no spoilers. Now right off the bat, I think this is the best of the 3 full trailers that Netflix released in terms of capturing the tone of the film itself. The trailer feels melancholy and downbeat. It's very slow paced and it looks like it puts the focus on intrinsic and internal moral dilemmas, and there's just an overall sad feeling that emits from the trailer. As anyone who's seen the film will know, this is pretty much how the movie is: sad, melancholy and slow. The first trailer does a good job at drumming up the hype of seeing De Niro, Pacino and Pesci on screen for the first time. The second trailer, whilst a better one that does give us more details on the story and showcases the CGI more, is quite misleading as it almost looks like the film is going to be Goodfellas Part 2, all fast paced and explosive. This trailer is a lot more honest and true to the film itself. The movie is something of a memoir of Frank Sheeran, the hitman, how he was in the middle of a major rift between his friends and how he was sucked into it, and how the decisions he made in life affected him in his old age. And that is the vibe you get from this trailer. Saying that though, I did think this trailer gave a lot of the film away. And I mean a lot. There's key scenes with huge spoilers that are on display. To such an extent, I would actually recommend people not to watch this trailer because it gives so much away. Obviously, a lot of it is without context and therefore you won't know you're watching a scene with heavy spoilers unless you already know the story. Like say for example when the trailer for The Amazing Spider-Man 2 showed the very last shot of the film, but when you get around to seeing the film, when you're sitting there on your sofa, it may be that some scenes come on and you're reminded of when you saw it in the trailer and that takes you out of the film. I know that happens to me quite a lot, but I suppose it depends on how much of trailers you tend to remember in your head by the time you get around to seeing a film. With The Irishman just around the corner, I'd probably advise people to be patient and leave this trailer until after the film. Why ruin it for yourself? There's a scene of a guy getting shot in the trailer who is a pretty major character, for example. I mean, even the fact that they showed Sheeran in the trailer in his old age talking to the FBI agents and to his daughter, I was really disappointed they showed that in the trailer. Because one of the most awesome aspects of the film for most will be the way it surprises you. This didn't happen for me because I pretty much knew all the story going into the film, but for most people they will watch it to see a Scorsese gangster film, and they will get the usual shenanigans, mob hits, people swearing, voiceovers, all that kind of stuff. But then after the film's climax, instead of ending like Goodfellas or Casino, the film carries on until the main character grows old and, like the trailer shows, becomes remorseful and lonely. It was quite frustrating that the trailer gave that away because that would have been the film's main emotional gut punch for those who weren't aware of the story. It's funny I should mention that though, because if anything, this trailer seems perfect for those who have already seen the film. The Irishman is a very long film and you forget a lot of scenes because the film is so packed with them. Scorsese once said there's around 300 of them in the film. And this trailer actually reminds you of a lot of parts and it gets you excited to see the film again. There's loads of little shots and snippets of the trailer that made me think, oh yeah, I remember that scene now. Can't wait to see it again. It's less of a trailer to get you to see the film, but more of a summarization of the movie's events and themes. So in regards to the trailer's structure, it's very well set up. Let's avoid talking about how much it spoils the film for a minute, but the way it opens with the 2 agents probing Sheeran is quite cool, like you're about to be told a huge expansive story. Then after a few seconds, during the flashback, Pesci makes his little tough guy comment and you see a quick fire montage of Tony Pro, Crazy Joe Gallo, Skinny Razor and both Angelo Bruno and Russell Buffalino. That part was so cool, it felt so masculine and badass, like it's the trailer telling us, put aside your political correctness and social justice because you're about to enter a man's movie, a dark movie with dangerous characters. And then you have De Niro saying he isn't afraid of tough guys, with Pesci replying, didn't think so. I don't know why, but this kind of reminded me of when Matthew McConaughey offered Leonardo DiCaprio something to eat in The Wolf of Wall Street when he tells him the lowdown of Wall Street. And DiCaprio refuses at first, but then he takes one after talking with him. It's like he's now taken the forbidden fruit. Now begins his downward journey to losing his soul. I don't know, it just kind of reminded me of that. Like if Frank Sheeran replied that he is afraid of tough guys, he'd be shown the exit door and there'd be no movie. But he didn't, and was invited to sit with the gangsters, and from there he is slowly assimilated into their world. There's a part where Sheeran is talking to his daughter, and he tells her that he knows he wasn't a good father, but he was just trying to protect them. And he mentions that they haven't seen what he's seen. I like that they included that line in the film, because he did have a point. I mean, I know Sheeran did a lot of terrible things, and the way he was meant his daughters could not come to him for help, but I like the fact that the movie doesn't just swing everything in Sheeran's direction, and he backs himself up a little bit here. A lot of films have abusive parents and sweet, innocent children, and other movies have the opposite with terrible children and honest, hard-working parents. Hollywood doesn't often get the balance right, but I like the fact that there is a question in regards to the Irishman story, whether his children were right to distance themselves from him. I mean, when you look at Sheeran's own childhood, the way his father treated him, which interestingly isn't in the movie, but what he experienced during the war, I mean, I'm not building a defense case for him, but the guy did not live an easy life, whereas his family was a lot more well off and lived in stable conditions due to the money he brought home. Anyway, that's a conversation for another day. A bit like in the movie itself, in the trailer, Pacino doesn't show up until around a third of the way in, and he is really good in the movie. Pacino fans are in for a treat because you're going to witness a classic Pacino performance. He's so full of energy in the film. It's like they plucked Pacino straight out of the 90s. It's absolutely stunning that the man is almost 80 and gave off a performance like this. All the three big names are incredible in the film, as the trailer points out, but De Niro is very dialed down and Pesci will surprise you with his subtlety. But with Pacino, it's quite simply a classic Pacino performance. He's brilliant, as are all three, and it's definitely the trio's best work in years. I've got a video coming out soon where I discuss the acting from De Niro, Pacino and Pesci, and who I thought gave the best performance. But it contains spoilers, so I'll release it after The Irishman comes out on Netflix, so stay tuned. The trailer does well to set up the main conflict of the movie with the dilemma that Sheeran finds himself in. Pacino says, "I know things they don't know I know." Pesci says, "He said that? You're sure he said that?" And then De Niro says, "I'm worried." Which is pretty self-explanatory really. It lays everything out for you, showing that it's essentially Pacino versus Pesci, with De Niro caught in the middle. In fact, if you've spotted it, there's a quick shot of Pesci and Dominic Lombardozzi, who plays Fat Tony Salerno, and the camera swings around to De Niro, who looks worried and exasperated. It's sad but funny at the same time in the film, and this shot kind of sums up the position of De Niro's character and the situation he's in. The mob talk to each other, they make a decision, and they want a message to be sent to Hoffa from someone that knows him and that can get through to him, and it's always Sheeran that has to do it. He's always in the middle of the two factions. It's difficult to discuss the rest of the trailer without talking about the actual plot, so I guess I'll leave it there. It really is a good trailer, barring spoilers. It feels very emotional, and it sends a message to audiences that there is going to be a lot happening in the film, and there's a lot that needs to be unpacked and unravelled. It's also not riding off the big name stars of the film, something it left to the teaser trailer. Instead, its focus is on the story and the emotional weight of the story, and the characters. It might be obvious to say, but this isn't Stand Up Guys, it isn't Righteous Kill or Grudge Match or Las Vegas or Killer Elite. This isn't a bunch of old has-beens looking to have a good time together in a film they enjoy making but we hate watching. This isn't the kind of film where they lure you in by having some actors who were big back in the day. This is top-tier filmmaking. The actors worked very hard on the picture, and each delivered brilliant performances in what, in my opinion, is unquestionably the film of the year. The Irishman is set to be released on Netflix next week on the 27th. I discuss and will continue to discuss this film a lot on my channel, so consider checking it out and subscribing for more content. And thanks for watching.